Welcome to Norobo, where I read to you Reddit stories without that annoying robot voice. r/AskReddit. What's something you weren't allowed to do as a child that your other friends were allowed to do? Use modern media, 90s kid. I was allowed to watch max 60 minutes of TV or play for 60 minutes. Advertisement break still counts. Blockbuster longer than 60 minutes? Oof. Why did you even start watching? A friend's birthday at the movies? I'll pick you up in 60 minutes. Thanks, Dad. That really helped making friends. And then someone down in the comments had an even better one. This is terrible, but I wasn't allowed to watch PG movies if one of my parents wasn't present, but this takes the cake. I don't know, I kind of feel like yours sucks more, but oh my god. Watch The Simpsons. I told my mom to eat my shorts when I was like 4 or 5, and it was banned in our house after that. Darkness replied also with, Bart is fresh to his parents, is what my mother said to justify the Simpsons ban in our house, even though she bought me underwear that had Bart on them. She was also reluctant to let us watch Rugrats, because she thought Angelica would be a bad influence. Oh, man, I mean, Angelica was kind of a bitch. Ditto. Did not get to watch The Simpsons in middle school, so I watched South Park instead. Same thing happened with music. Parents didn't like the Offspring's Americana art booklet, so I couldn't listen to that. Cue middle schooler listening to Korn and MSI. She was also reluctant to let us watch Rugrats because she thought Angelica would be a bad influence. But she was the villain. And she often had good character growth. No. Angelica was a bitch. I remember when I let my daughter watch something that taught her some obnoxious habit. Probably Caillou. Yo, fuck Caillou! Anyway, I told her that it was a cartoon and not to be imitated. She said, okay, Daddy, and moved on. Then I realized how ridiculously irrational it was of my mother to ban certain kids shows because of some perceived threat to my development. I was allowed to watch The Simpsons, but she banned anything that included magic in it. Wow, actually that's pretty fucked up. No magic. You better learn the world is dull and boring and bleak and hopeless. 2019. Okay, the list is long, but I'll post some highlights. In the summer, we weren't allowed to go outside till after like 3 p.m. because it was too hot. Ages till I was 14. When we did get to play outside, we had to play inside the fenced area till I was 14. We were not allowed to go to the movies unless Mom came, and even then, we had to pay ourselves and absolutely no popcorn or snacks. This was till I was 18. My parents were super strict. They did this with my older brothers also. When 2 of my older brothers were 16 and 17, they ran away from home because they couldn't take the rules anymore. Jesus. Edit. Here's one I forgot. When I was 13, we all went to Great Adventure. My dad got free tickets from work, and he wanted to see the animal safari. My younger brother and I weren't allowed to go on the rides. Can you imagine? We saw some of the shows, we walked around all day, my little brother cried like a lot. My older brothers got to go on all the rides. Okay, for real? That's fucked up. Okay, so this next one from Dark Talon 75 is a bit of a long one. Have fun. My mother, as mentioned in another one of my posts, believed children should be working and productive. Anything that did not jive with that productive behavior was worthless, and therefore unnecessary for children. You know, children, people with labor laws. I continue. We were hired out to neighbors to do work for them, and when they thoughtfully, I was literally just kidding about child labor, by the way, what the fuck? Hired out to neighbor, okay, sorry. And when they thoughtfully paid us for our efforts, we were not allowed to keep it. It went into my mother's hand for allowing us to work with the neighbors. Can we, cue the Rick and Morty clip, like, that's slavery with extra steps. Holy shit. I cannot remember how many evenings after mowing lawns or raking leaves that I just sat on my bed with blistered hands, wondering how in the world this was happening. This is getting sad. I'm getting sad, guys. Also, summer vacations. Try. We've decided you needed a job at 12. So, rather than letting you have some fun of mowing lawns, which your father and I know is easy and fun for you, I've decided you'll be working for me on the local farm, picking corn. Day starts at 4 a.m., weekdays and weekends. I don't think I would have, how do I word this? Stayed out of jail with a family like that. Yeah, anytime my friends wanted to hang out in the summer, if I was allowed, on very sparing occasions, to go to a friend's house, my mother would drive by their place all day long, randomly, making sure I was where I was supposed to be. On my arrival home, I'd be expected to share what I had been doing all day long, and if I didn't lie and say we'd done some random job for the parent, I'd be told, enough with the vacation and lying around all day. Was a wonderful time to be a child, said no one ever. Wow, that one was messed up. I hope that guy got plenty of much needed therapy. I mean, I used to go to therapy and my mother was nowhere near as bad as that. Like, at all. Derpy Calculator actually had a pretty good response. My mother would drive by the place all day long randomly, making sure I was where I was supposed to be. Sounds like your mom is the one who needed a job. Shots fired! I wasn't allowed to own a games console. Luckily, by the time my parents discovered the educational homework PC was loaded with games, I was able to claim established rights and keep them. Also, I casually mentioned that PC games were what boosted my English proficiency. Hey, never found out that my English mostly came from Magic the Gathering. Real talk though, when I was a kid in elementary school, my vocabulary was way higher than other students in the classrooms because I played so many video games. I still remember vividly when we were all sitting in a little circle, and if I have to really focus. I think it was, no, the 4th grade classroom was dark and creepy. Same with the 3rd grade classroom. Why are all of my, okay, I think it was like 5th grade. We were all sitting in a little circle, and the teacher was like asking us all to say a new word, like a new word that we thought nobody else in the class had learned yet. I think. I have such a terrible memory. But she'd asked all these students, and then when she got to me, little old me, 5th grade me, I think I said the word cadaver, because I had been playing this old video game called Cultures, where you play as like Vikings and shit, and you like manage a little Viking settlement in the New World. And whenever you killed an animal like a rabbit or something, and like they harvested it for meat, right? They hunted it. It would change the image of the rabbit to like, I think it was like a chicken leg or like a big ham leg, you know, like on like meat on the bone. I can't. But anyway, it changed it to that, and if you moused over it, it just said the word cadaver, and then that was burned in my brain forever. So I kind of get where this guy's coming from. I mean, he still learned most of his English from Magic the Gathering, but still, it's kind of like the same thing. I was never allowed to own any realistic games or fighting games. Only games that had visibly cartoonish characters. Mortal Kombat was completely out of the question unless I went to a friend's house. Okay, but isn't Mortal Kombat the game that created the ESRB? Why are you sounding like that's a problem? Mortal Kombat's brutal. It's called Mortal Kombat. The fact that they have to add in a word specifically centered around life and death. Also, Combat K. I didn't really notice that before. Why K? Combat K. What? Anyway, to this day, neither my mother or my little brother realized why I always yelled, "Get over here!" every time my little brother pissed me off and I was chasing him around the house. I was never allowed to play fighting and shooting games either. So when I got Ratchet and Clank 1 from a friend and my mom saw the shooting, she quickly shouted that she told me I'm not allowed to play those games! Actually, it says to play shooters. Oops. And I replied, it's just flying peas. And she shrugged it off as okay. I wasn't allowed to have friends over, or let them into the house for even a second. I had several friends who were neighbors, and I recall as a 7 and 8-year-old telling them to stand at the door while I grabbed something inside, as they weren't allowed in. Growing up, there were 2 boys who lived a couple of houses down the street with this rule. They could have half the neighborhood kids playing in the yard, but never one friend was allowed inside the house. That rule went away when their parents split up and their dad moved out. I don't know if it was the dad's rule or a way to curry favor with the kids, like, Mom now lets your friends come play inside. Aren't I the cool parent? Go outside at all, spend money, have privacy, argue, the list goes on. I said that in a depressing voice because I feel like this guy had a very depressing childhood. You can't go outside, you can't spend money, you can't have privacy. How do you wank? And you're not allowed to argue, so does that mean you're not allowed to talk back to them about the fact that they caught you wanking and they aren't happy and you aren't happy and you just want a door, Mom? That's what's keeping me up in the night times. Yep. Cursing was out of the question, but some other words we weren't allowed to say were dumb, hate, stupid, shut up. I got so excited when I learned the word loathe and it was technically allowed. What did he pick up a thesaurus? Like, fark. I can't say hate. What do I do? Flip into the book. Hey, loathe! Oh, yes, loathe! Hey, Mom, I loathe your rules! Edit. Forgot about jerk. Even if we were describing someone who was mean at school, we had to come up with other words. Like cock goblin. And then we got hit. Edit 2. Clarification. And forgot about the forbidden word, suck. Full stop. Dumb, hate, stupid, shut up. Fine, whatever. Jerk. Okay. All of those are really low-grade things that I've heard parents forbid, like, little kids from saying. Like, I've heard people in my life, personally, say to, like, toddlers and, like, 6-year-olds, don't say dumb, don't say hate, don't say stupid, shut up, don't say jerk. Especially jerk. SpongeBob taught a few kids in my life the word jerk, said in a very aggressive manner, and parents hated that. But suck. I don't know how many kids are saying, man, you suck, or this sucks, or we all suck, or I saw Aunt May suck. Nah, hang on. Anyway. It's such a low-level swear. It's one of those swears that most places and people will let you get away with anyway, because it's so low on the totem pole. Like, when I was in middle school, I got in trouble for saying the word crap. It's literally just a polished up, add some whipped cream and sprinkles version of shit. And even then, the teacher was like, no, you can't say crap. What are you doing? Stop it. So, why would suck be a forbidden word in that guy's house? Unless his mom was very self-conscious about not doing a very specific activity that got her into a lot of arguments with her husband. Food for thought. Also, Copycat, and I'm really sorry I'm implying your mom doesn't suck dick. I had a friend growing up who wasn't allowed to say jeez because it was supposedly shortening Jesus, but she was allowed to say shit. Go out, like, 99% of the time. Visit a friend's house? No way, man. Sleepover? Nah. Recess in elementary school? Nah. I literally had a note that I had to bring to the school saying I couldn't go out for recess because I had a pollen allergy. I am not allergic to pollen. What the fuck? Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. But first of all, and without a second of all, my father told me stories about when he was a kid, and it was literally like the polar opposite of what this guy's childhood was. Like the way my father described it, and my mother too, kind of, is that they weren't allowed in the house. Essentially, they weren't allowed... That's literally how they described it. They said we weren't allowed in the house. They had to be outside all the time. They weren't allowed to watch TV. It was just outside, playing outside all the time. But the minute the streetlights came on, get your ass back home. Like, how... I can only assume, if the person here is old enough to be on Reddit, right? I can only assume that they're at least, like, I don't know, like 15. Let's say at least 15. So born in 2003. Their parents must have been from that same generation that was all about, like, go outside, you know, be with friends, don't stay inside and be a couch potato all day. So how do their parents come out of that and just be like, no, outside's dangerous! It's got wasps out there, and pollen, and vitamin D, and it's got sharks out there! Don't go out there, there's sharks out there. I'm being hyperbolic, but, you know, that's how I choose to picture it. So that was r/AskReddit. What's something you weren't allowed to do, but your friends were? I'm a totally brand new channel, and I'm trying something new here. I figure I'll start out small, and I'll record a few videos until I figure out how I like the format. Now, if you like this video, I would tell you to like it, but I know that when you like videos on YouTube, it, like... How many times have I said like in the last 15 minutes? But it adds it to, like, some sort of playlist or, like, a favorites, and I keep saying like, and I'm very conscious of that right now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyway, if you enjoy the video... see how I avoided it there? If you enjoy the video, maybe share it around with your friends on Facebook or Twitter, Instagrams, and all them social media places. I'm 24, I'm supposed to know this stuff. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. Comment in the comment section if you got any criticisms for me, because I'm sure there are plenty of them to be had. And as always, I was gonna say as always, this is my first video. I'm not good at this. Okay. Well, I'll see you guys next time, if anyone's even watching this. Oh my god. Anyway, shut up! Shut up. Everything's fine. I don't know how to do outros.